Hey guys, what's up? I am here to give you guys a recap on the new episode of Vinland Saga, which is on episode 5. Now, this episode right here was actually pretty slick and very emotional in a certain sense, but the way how I look at the episode, it looks really simple. A lot of people have been discussing this episode that it's anime original, and the way I look at it, even if it's anime original, it still looks pretty good. So if anything else, let's just get this started. We have to it that Thorfinn continues to travel with Askeladd's crew for a very long time. Eventually, they will later on land near a village, but apparently they would later burn and cause damage to the village, kill every villager, which they are pirates apparently, I was told about how Askeladd is, etc. And we see to it, of course, that Thorfinn himself, with great pride, dignity, and trying to want to succeed in having his revenge against Askeladd. Apparently, he could have killed Askeladd one time when he was asleep, but apparently he decided not to do so due to the fact that he remembers his father's ways of how he would handle things and decides to follow that path. The next morning, he challenges Askeladd to a duel where he stole a sword. And apparently we see to it, of course, that Askeladd decides to take him on, and then he asks him, here, show me what you got. And apparently Thorfinn tries to stab him with the sword, but apparently is unable to do so. And Askeladd just kicks him, ending the duel. And he gives some advice to the kid by saying, you can't just swing a sword like that around, etc. Before I get into more of Thorfinn's struggle in this episode, I'd like to get to a scene where we see Ylva along with Eriksson talking to Helga and Ylva about what happened to Thorfinn, And we see to it, of course, eventually Ylva herself has been doing a lot of hard work, not to mention she's been doing some heavy lifting, which I go like, well, she does have the blood of her own father inside of her and the genes along with that, genetics if anything. So it shows that she's pretty strong. And of course, she did a lot of work around the house and helping out her mother, helping out the villagers, such as fishing a giant whale or some kind of giant fish along the way. And they would eventually seem to be doing fine. But apparently, there would be one scene where Helga does tell Ylva to actually rest, because everything will be okay. Well, not okay, but she says it's okay, it's just okay. Eventually, when her mother stopped her from doing that knitting thing on the cloth or clothes, we see to it that Ylva finally cried and is actually grieving for her father. Of course, she did brush it off by saying she would know eventually that her father would die, but she will later on cry eventually, which I go like, it's fine. I mean, when you see a loved one die or something, it's only natural to be in pain or misery and to let it all out, So that's what's happening with Ylva and Helga. And as for Eriksson, he promises Helga that he will find her son no matter how many years it would take. And I hope you can find him soon, because you can't live for too long, that's for sure. Eventually, of course, we go back to Thorfinn still struggling, and eventually he will learn how to hunt his own food and train his abilities with his own knife. But eventually he would run into one of Askeladd's best elite warrior on his crew. He does tell Thorfinn that his father was foolish and naive, that much I can say. Even Thorfinn tries to attack him, but is unable to do any damage to him. Even Askeladd was given a message by his best man or right hand man or muscle guy that that the kid is still alive, and he says, really? I'm really shocked about that. But eventually his right hand man or muscle man, however I would like to call it, would tell him that he does have the blood of a Viking in him, so it's not like he's gonna die that easily, And eventually, as time continues on, Thorfinn will continue his training eventually and continue holding and wielding his knife in a certain way, or start using his knife that his father gave him. And eventually, a couple days later, when Askeladd and his crew is about to leave, we see to it that they would like that Thorfinn would challenge him to a duel, and it looks like to me he's doing much better than before, but not to a point where he's able to do any damage on Askeladd. Askeladd just kicks him and goes like, "Hey man, is that all you got?" Eventually he almost dropped his guard to a point where Thorfinn actually threw his knife at him, but Askeladd just swings it away just in the nick of time. And we see to it that like Askeladd's like, "Let's stop this, man. It's over already." But Thorfinn, on the other hand, persists that he wants to continue the duel as he has not lost yet. And we see to it that Askeladd tells him this: "Achieve something great on the battlefield, and then I will reward you with a duel." Therefore, Thorfinn's like, "You promise?" He says, "Yeah, as promised between warriors, you get something or you achieve something on the great battlefield, I will reward you with a duel." And we see to it that Thorfinn says, "Very well, I will achieve something great and I will fulfill my goal by killing you, you know?" And etc. And the episode ends off there. So, like I said, when I looked at a discussion with some people, they say this is anime original, which is, it seems fine to me. I mean, like, there won't be denying some facts that there will be some anime original episodes for some series here and there, but, guess we're gonna have to still continue to find out eventually, you know? Aside from that, Thorfinn, you know, the struggle with this one is really devastating. I mean, he tried to drink some salt water one time at the beginning of the episode, but he can't do it. He tried to hunt food on his own, and he struggles to do so, but eventually he will continue to grow his own skills and tries to fight Askeladd 2 times in this episode. But Askeladd therefore tells him, "You achieve something great on the battlefield, I will take you on in the duel, as a promise between warriors." And of course, we get to see Helga and Ylva in this episode. Of course, like, Ylva is trying to keep herself busy and strong to, like, whatchamacallit, to get over her father's death, you know. But eventually, when Helga says it's okay, she finally starts to cry, which I go like, "Hey man, it's fine to cry. I mean, like, when you lose a loved one or someone you care about, it's only natural that you be in grief." Even though she may have the Troll's warrior or her father's blood in her, along with the genetics, I mean, like, if you need to, like, let it out, just let it out. There's no shame in that. So, yeah. Anyways, looking forward to next episode. Hopefully, I don't know about Eriksson, you know. He tells Ylva that he will find Thorfinn no matter how many years it took, and will, bring him home. Which I go like, I don't know, Eriksson. I mean, like, you got some promise there to do, but age and time will take away your life eventually. Will take your life away. So, yeah, pretty slick episode. Even though people say it's anime original, I still think it was pretty cool. Looking forward to the next episode, as I said. Hopefully, we'll see Thorfinn continue to grow, and eventually we'll see maybe how far he's gotten with his own skills. I mean, like, all I know is, like, we all know what his skills will be like, because due to the opening and everything else, you know. So until then, I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm Alpha Zero, people. Have a good day, and I'll see you guys next time, alright? Peace out. Bye-bye. Choo-choo-doo!